Like it's almost like that karaoke. You'll hear people who do a great rendition of it, maybe even better than the original person. But they would never have that song to sing if they didn't have the songwriters.
Right. Well, I know Chris Rock said something about like, like about Hall & Oates. Like no one even knows what Oates does. But Hall's never written a successful song without him.
Yeah. As you were talking, and like, who do people actually remember? The viola player in me, like I could feel like my heart like
You're
increasing, like my blood pumping. Yeah. It's alarming how much pistachio like pudding looks like to like mint flavored things.
And mint is not allowed.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Allowed,
yeah.
It makes you uncomfortable.
It does. It's kind of like the oatmeal cookie versus like the chocolate chip cookie.
But that's just a deception. Well, I guess this pistachio would be deception as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel like mint is toothpaste only? Or
spearmint? No mint and chocolate. Are you one of those mint chocolate people?
I like mint chocolate.
Get out.
Okay. Well, hold on.
Enjoy doing the podcast yourself, guys.
I'm never alone.
Well, okay.
Please don't leave.
I don't like cold mint. It's like ice cream because I love a peppermint mocha.
Sure.
Peppermint mint mocha.
It's a nice accent to that coffee, though.
Yeah,
I think that like
chocolate, but not dark chocolate. I don't like it with dark chocolate.
Oh.
I like it with white chocolate.
Sure.
That's not chocolate.
I know it's like butter.
Wow.
But it's
not.
Wow.
But it's called. You know what I'm saying?
What is it actually?
Butter.
Is it really?
Literally, it's like
it's like vanilla butter.
Internet.
So you like mint with your butter is what you're saying.
Because I'm American.
American.
No, I just something about it, like the white chocolate I think complements it more. Whereas like I turned on that light so that.
Oh, well. Anyways, I had to touch the squirrel. Now it's actually going.
Oh my god.
Whoa. That almost went all over my notebook.
Do you want to go turn the light back on? Oh, it's fine here.
Fine. How dare you write on another
He's done
man's
this twice
notepad?
now.
Really?
You haven't really? It's okay.
Gonna write on your notebook.
Have I really? What?
What?
You're
Me?
You're about to get a new temporary tattoo, man. No.
Here, add to my multiple.
Add to the collection. Yeah.
People will be like, who did this piece of crap?
Yeah, this is like, it's very avant-garde. Like,
It's very gauche.
gauche? What's a gauche?
It means left.
Oh, really?
It's beyond, yeah.
Gauche?
A main gauche is a left-handed dagger.
What's a
Oh.
right?
That'd be main droit.
Why are there so many
I believe
phrases
We're
but French? And they're historically like
cowards and they
horrible at
run
winning
away.
wars. Stop it.
They're not historically bad about winning wars. They're just diplomatic.
Okay. Oh, that's fair.
Listen
that is
to my
fair.
cannonball.
Napoleon would beg to differ with you.
Fair.
It's like, yeah, I guess he did eventually lose, but it took a lot of people dogpiling him.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
he really tried really hard with Tina. I mean, just Tina, eat
God.
fat lard.
I want to shower.
Yes. I got the groaner. I'll take the
Yeah.
groaner, guys. You don't understand. Like, I will totally
Oh, I
take
know
any,
it.
like, as long as I'm laughing, really.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've noticed that.
As long as the homicidal maniac, mowing down people. I'm laughing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's
Just
good.
like Napoleon.
Just like Napoleon, yes. With his
Yeah.
little hand in the shirt. He wasn't really that short, wasn't he?
He was
like
half an inch above average height.
So
5.6 and a half.
5'6" and a half.
He was
It's me.
5'6".
That's me.
That
5'6".
is
I am average height for a woman.
Or
If you didn't know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're good then.
I'm very good.
Wait. Average height for a
But-
guy or for?
He said for a woman.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know what he said.
Oh,
but
Napoleon was half an inch above average height for a man in that
In
era.
France?
yeah, which was shorter than
The
it
French
is
people
now.
were short. I don't know. You tell
Well,
me.
I don't think they're historically tall either.
Or like
I
the
apparently am
Nords.
historically dissing on the French. I'm so sorry.
You're just talking about statistics. You can't diss on something
That's a
statistically.
statistic.
Can you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Peruvians are still pissed about smallpox.
Yes, they are. Yes, I don't blame them.
Very
They're
little
also,
people.
They're like, at least
Yeah.
we got to the feds. Whoa.
Oh my God. They're also historically very short.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the world. That was the ancient world was very short.
Mhm. The
Yeah.
mountains were tall for
Yeah.
them.
Well, to be honest, real quick, is like I've been in Mexico City and a lot of the pyramids down there and all the like huts that are still there. Their doors are very short, like very short. And it's like, we had to duck to get in there. But no, it's actually that's just how short they were.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the TV show from the 80s, Robin of Sherwood, like Little John, who's supposed to be a giant of a man, they have him be like 6'4" or 6'6",
oh, sure.
because at that time that was. But
He was
it's
also
not,
5'6". No,
It's not like Andre the Giant or anything though.
Dude,
No.
how tall was?
Andre the Giant wasn't he like 7'3" or
He's
something?
like I think low 7 feet.
Yeah.
So
Low sevens.
yeah, low sevens. Yeah.
Imagine.
Yes.
But,
Do you have the notes for what we're supposed to talk about? We're Bards and Balladeers.
Yeah.
I can do this without
Oh.
notes, but
yeah, today we're talking about this is second fiddle, so we're talking
Yeah.
about secondary characters.
so we're talking about these
And-
two. I'm just kidding.
I had a little song prepared for this, and now I forgot what it
Have
was.
you really?
No, just like for it's
Like, okay. Well, you can try. We'll add it in
it
later.
was a different rendition of like this is the Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah. His name is Rio, and he dances on the cam. Wait,
On
that's
the can?
The cam.
Oh, the can.
He does dance on
I
the
do a
can.
dance on the toilet
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
you know.
That's what it was. It was Rio by
Yeah.
Duran Duran. So
What
all
was it?
credit due.
Dun, 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 the Copacabana. That's the,
Yeah,
one, yeah. But we are Bards and Balladeers. Bards and Balladeers.
Please use the script.
I can't. Yeah.
Bards
Give me
and
this.
Gummy Bears.
Bards and Gummy Bears.
We give him the script and he's not going to
Hello.
follow it still.
Welcome to Bards and Balladeers. This is the podcast about story,
Not acting.
not acting,
No,
because that
not
is
at
not
all.
something I do. This is a podcast all about story in all its forms. It's knee slapper because it's that good. I am Rio. We have Oscar and Kate with us today as normal. Nothing ever changes.
But
we like
which
it that
one
way.
is which?
Well, I should mess up the name tags for us.
Yeah.
Um,
Better hope that you can tell.
you do look very
can't
similar to
read.
my wife. I can't read. I dream about you often, Oscar.
Well, my wife got really tall.
Yes, and very Turkish for some reason.
Very.
I like it. Very hairy. But if you're listening to us on YouTube or Spotify, thank you. Give us a like and subscribe. We're also on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music too. You can find us there. But we also have a Discord too. So if you like us when we're kind of weird and funny, you can get us there too, and we'll be weird and funny there.
Check out the sick memes.
With sick memes, man. We also got an exclusive page that we have one exclusive from our last episode. You can only find there. So I'm not going to even tell you what it is. Just go find it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, Easter egg hunt.
And if you
Easter
find
egg
it,
hunt.
let us know.
I don't
Yeah.
know what it is.
Yeah,
you told
know
me
what it is.
You told me, but I forgot. So therefore, I don't know what it is.
Jingle, jingle. Okay.
This happens often.
Yeah.
That's okay.
We are
But
coordinated.
we are coordinated. We got all this together. People can't see it, but this takes work. Okay.
Mhm.
Can't. It just doesn't start. It's not just a webcam.
Performance.
Yeah, this is at least 10 minutes of
At
work.
least
If you want
Hey,
behind
I
the
was doing
scenes-
something last night too.
If you want behind the scenes, let us know. We'd be happy to show you what it looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
behind the camera.
A camera to film the
Mhm.
scene, to film us.
Mhm.
We'll do cameraception.
Behind the camera is literally the stairs.
Yeah. In my backpack over there.
Yeah.
But today we're talking about second fiddle, as we discussed and everything, secondary characters, secondary anything actually in movies, books and everything that really impact a story and why they're so important. And you find this, it's a weird topic because I don't know that we actually, well, let me explain. Topic because like everybody wants to be the main character in the story. Everybody wants to concentrate, but you can't do anything without the congregation of people. You can't do nothing without those secondary people to, even as a leader, like you know this now, being a leader in your profession, that you need your secondaries to do the work, but you trust your secondaries to do the work right.
That's right.
So
Mhm.
How do you know that one of them isn't the main character and you're the secondary? Because being the leader doesn't make you the main character.
It's
Correct.
true.
It is
Yeah.
very true. And actually, that's one of my favorite parts about leadership is being able to see when the right time is for a person to shine. And I think as an author, that's also probably one of my favorite parts about in the inspirations episode or trust the process episode, I talked about, analyzing a story. What period of time is like the best moment to tell the story, like a whole narrative that I want to tell? And sometimes a part of that is deciding which character is driving the show in a way.
Yeah.
And even as a leader, again, knowing when it's best for one person to shine over another. And sometimes they happen at the same time. It's not necessarily like choosing one or the other. They sort of, rise on their own.
Rise to the challenge.
And as a leader, you just want to like remove the barriers for them to shine even brighter.
And it switches too sometimes, like depending on the situation, right?
Yeah.
You have a whole crew, but sometimes like you need someone else to be the leader for whatever. Like if it's something scientific or the helmsman.
Sometimes the main character in one timeline or one part of a story will be the secondary character in the next part.
Yeah.
You see that a lot with stories where, you've got one generation and then their kids are next. It's like, you pass the mantle.
Right. Yeah. And I think because even didn't you find this to sort of be the case with, I'm going to bring up Koya again because she wasn't initially planned to be a primary character, right?
I don't want to speak too much
she
was.
Oh, she was. Oh, okay.
There are two characters who are not. There are two characters who are not. They're both in book 2. I mean, you hear about them both. You meet one in book 1. You hear about the other in book 1. Oh. But Koya was always a main character. Koya, Ajuban, and Roy. Mm-hmm. But I didn't necessarily intend for her to be the most prominent, most favorite main character. Right. I also wasn't invested in her not being, so I just let it happen.
Oh, sure.
Organic writing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like she wasn't supposed to be quite as prominent, but it's kind of happy accident,
Happy accidents,
yeah.
You saw the character, she's shining. Let's keep it going.
How much of that is also, though, your fans kind of choosing it for you, though? Like, because, you'll make a character.
They only think they decided.
No, I made them believe that.
No, it's actually, I did kind of predict it once I was done. And once I got feedback from my beta readers, too.
Sure.
And a big part of that was that I wrote so much of the story, like the bits that would be new to the reader about the pirating life.
Yeah.
It's new to her, too. So I wrote those parts from her perspective. And that creates this subconscious bond or conscious bond to that character.
Sure.
And then like, hey, she's my favorite. It's like, I'm not saying that's the only reason, but it definitely helped.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's kind of like if you ever watch anime and they always call them like the harem animes or whatever, where they have the one guy and then all the girls that kind of are pining over him.
Oh, yeah.
It's like he's the main character and they're all secondary characters, but he's the catalyst for all of them and them trying to like win his affection and whatever. There's Monster Masume, whatever, where they have this like portal opens and all the monster girls come over into the real world and he's like housing them all. So it's people know if they've seen it, but it's kind of like that idea, like that secondary characters are the story because everybody has their favorite, like, everybody has their, so they kind of populate it with as many different kinds. So everyone is going to be invested in this story. Mm-hmm. So
you're giving me an idea for an RPG, like a two-parter.
Okay.
Where the first part is like, a high school anime sort of thing almost. And like, the different people who are interested, like some of them are just kind of like, doing that exactly what you said, just sort of like, just chasing them around, and others actually have game or whatever. And you figure out during play who's who. Yeah. And then the second part is they've all become zombies.
Oh,
and the ones who are just like, chasing around, they're like the one hit point mooks that you get in like 4th edition D&D, which I'm not a fan of. And then the other ones actually have like real stats and hit points and stuff.
Yeah, the harder ones. That's kind of fun. I mean, I'm game. Let's do that.
This would be a completely silly thing.
Speaking of like,
course,
that's just what that made me think of.
I think there's a new Kickstarter for a Thundercats 5e D&D, like I don't know what it's called, module.
Why does that hurt you?
I mean, well,
Thunder.
Partially, I'm not a big fan of 5th edition D&D, but also I was never into Thundercats as much as everybody else was.
I mean, it has its like novelty, but it's not great. I mean, like the story wasn't great, but
it's just combining the two.
Yeah, but they're doing that with everything. It's like Magic the Gathering. They like talk about like secondary, like it's just like that. I mean, let's talk about like when you start franchising stuff. Like there's Fortnite, what has every like franchise in there, and it just like they do all these cross things, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like what happened to having just the main core thing, and then trying to build in that without having to like go everywhere.
I mean, what happened to original content?
Well.
Hey, let's make money off of this licensing.
Yeah, it's a topic for a different episode. I feel like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A little more jaded episode after the holidays when everyone's returning their crap.
No, we're happy. We'll be up. No,
maybe a live stream. We could rant about it on a live stream.
Yeah. But live streams are for rants. There we go.
Fair enough. Yeah. Super chats positivity. Yes, right. I don't know. We're pretty positive on our live stream that we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you want us to do more live streams, say something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we won't.
But yeah, I think that, you were talking earlier about like music, because there's clearly, aspects of this in that, but you see it a lot too with like, I see like some music where there's a lead singer, but every so often a song will be sung by a backup singer or like, like the guitarist or something like that.
Right. One, I think it's to give, like in a band setting, let's say like a traditional like rock band or, performing band, it's to kind of give the main singer like a break. So that's one purpose of it. But even in like an orchestral setting where you have like first violin, second violins, or, first clarinet, second clarinet, things like that, like each of them play like a slightly like nuanced, like different portions of the piece. And all of it adds sort of layers to the entire thing.
Right.
Horrible way of explaining it.
No.
But I think what it really sort of, it plays into the idea that without the layers, it will appear very flat. It won't have as much texture to it. It won't have as much depth, to use the flat, like as the opposite, and I think that when we talk about secondary characters, it's very much that, like they add depth and they add sort of texture and also like richness. And sometimes like what's the word? Like characters are often foils to like the main character.
That's the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in fencing.
Especially.
Or when you're making a turkey.
Always needed.
Foil.
Always needed. But because they enhance the main thing that the reader or viewer is looking at. I feel like that's the purpose of, not the only purpose of secondary.
Oh, I guess this episode was quick. No.
Thank you.
No, it's definitely like, kind of like with cooking too, when people say this needs something sweet to cut the tartness or something like that. Otherwise it's all just one flavor. And people say that a lot about certain stories. Like this was just too much one flavor. If there's not enough nuance or something. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, but it makes sense. And I agree with you because like you still, like you're making a lemon cake, you still want that lemon flavor, but you don't want it so lemony that like it's just unedible. Like,
True.
Yeah. I had heard people actually say this about Pirates of the Caribbean, where if everyone was doing what Jack was doing, it would just be, he's a strong flavor. And if everyone was doing what he was doing, it would be completely unwatchable.
Yes.
Yes,
I
Marvel
agree.
too.
Yeah.
Where like, it used to be, I don't know if
Marvel's watchable. What? Sorry.
No, it's okay. If I can be rude, you can too.
Yeah.
But it's like, so Marvel had this thing where like they had very distinct characters and all the characters. And then everyone became funny. Everyone had like quippy lines. Everyone had made jokes and then no one's funny, And
because then it's just a comedy.
Yeah.
Because like groups of people just don't talk like that.
Right. There's a funny one like us, but then everybody else, no.
And then there's the one that's exhausted by all the humor.
You've got to have someone rolling their eyes.
Yeah. So I know I'm doing a good job.
Which of the Avengers is the eye roller today?
Natasha.
Well, that was Natasha or that
was a little fast.
Nebula. Oh, we know. Like, aren't you glad that Steve Rogers is coming back?
Honestly, Nebula also. Yeah. She's definitely, I think, the opposite end of the spectrum. But also, not to tangent. Don't let me go tangent too far.
Yeah. I'll smack you.
You can co-sign it though.
Seeing her like evolution eventually is so wonderful because she does start out with where she starts out.
Yeah.
But
just very angry character, very just like direct fighter, that kind of thing. But to that point too, though, again, it's like the harem thing where like there's a character for everybody. And everybody, if you do it right, like it's almost like everyone's secondary until they are needed. It's that very much thing.
Or they have their I'm going to step up episode or whatever.
Kind of. I mean, yeah.
Well, that's true. I mean, even not to throw too many examples out there, but the Orville, the last season did a wonderful job of, instead of focusing on the captain, which is very easy to do in a show like that, Seth MacFarlane, whoever the writers, decided to showcase each like episodes dedicated to like individual characters and letting them shine, telling their story.
Very Star Trek, actually.
Oh, sure. Sure. Unfortunately, I have not watched enough to see the trend of it.
One day.
But I do think that, I don't know which one of you said it, but then that really does blur the lines between, the primary characters or secondary characters. I don't know. I guess I like the concept that you need them all. And without the secondary characters, it's not as rich. But I do think that some of my favorite stories are, I was just about to say The Gray. Sorry, but there is a primary.
I was gonna mention Lost. So.
Fantastic.
Let's do it.
But there
You
is
started it this
a
time.
really strong, like secondary, layer of characters other than Otway, in this survival story. And so I was thinking that it's more like a singular character because it's him versus, a very clear antagonist being the wolves. But there's also nature. There's also the other people that he's dealing with. So my example is not a good example, but
it's fine.
And depending on who you ask, my example is not a good show.
Oh,
Who would say that?
I don't know.
A whole piece of artwork.
People who are around me, literally.
Don't make fun of my
Around.
neighbors.
but what about Lost made you want to? Because there are a lot of
No.
characters in that show.
Actually, what I was gonna say about Lost was more like a negative example.
Ooh, okay.
So I feel like season 1, every show is kind of finding its footing.
Yeah.
And I feel like they introduced so many characters and they were still, I think, trying to figure out who was a main character in this ensemble cast, because there were going to be several main characters, and who was secondary. And they spent a little while like having this guy, Charlie, played by Dominic Monaghan. And
Like Cal Kestis?
No, that's
Mary from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Australian one.
Yeah, I knew you'd know who he was.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's not Australian. He's
not?
English. You're thinking of Pippin.
I am.
You're confused about your movie lore, and you love the movie.
You're
So-
confused by your prisoners.
It's almost like they're interchangeable in the movies. But no, anyway,
Similar.
like, so Charlie, like they're making him seem like, they're trying to push him into being a main character, but he just doesn't do main character stuff. And I've seen this in a lot of shows where you've got a character who's kind of more comic relief, or they've got some kind of inner struggle going on, but they're kind of, in terms of what the group needs, not super useful. And so I see shows do this where they'll have their episode where suddenly this character is useful and see, aren't they important after all? And they try to force them into a main character role to do a main character thing. And yeah, they can do it one time or something. And then you're just supposed to accept that they're in that spot, but then they just go back to being kind of unremarkable. And to me, I felt like he was somewhat unremarkable, but
is that a believability problem though?
I think a big part, it just feels contrived.
Sure.
To me, it pulls me out of it.
Yeah.
And he can be a sympathetic character. He can be a good character.
Yeah.
He can be a great secondary character, but trying to force him to be a main character, mistake. And it just comes off as unnatural and contrived.
It's funny that you talk about, you said like how family, and when you start talking about the kids or whatever, we just saw you saw with us the Avatar film.
Yeah, I was there. At
You
your
were
birthday,
there.
man.
Yes. Happy birthday to me. But how, like, from watching the first one and you had those main characters, when the kids came in, it wasn't, they tried to make them more of the main characters. And it just like, at least for me, I just want to watch Natiri and Jake like do stuff. Like, I want to see that dynamic. That's what worked most for me. And I get that they're going to probably try to pass the torch to the kids at some point, because they kind of made it, spoilers, like in a third one that Jake might die, because they kept talking about him in past tense. Like, I'm like, oh God. They're
You mean the
kill him.
narration?
Spoilers in all 3 movies, he might die.
Well, yes.
Tis inevitable.
But
some characters die in multiple movies.
yes. But so it's interesting when, again, like they try to force that stuff, and that just doesn't work, because like there has to be a good passing of the torch if they do it. And I had never really seen it done very well in the stories I've heard. There's Dr. Sleep, if you ever watched the sequel to
I have not.
The Shining.
I haven't. Yeah, I've seen The Shining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a movie.
Yeah.
Yay.
Just one. You only saw half of it, and maybe in two sections. But the Danny was the little kid, is played by Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor. Yeah. And he finds another girl who has The Shining as well, and they kind of work together to like take down the hotel together. And it seemed like they were given adequate time, and him being that kind of Obi-Wan to like the kid. And it was a good passing of torch. And I really feel like you can do it well, but you can't just do it. Like you need to set it up. Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't just force it. You've got to find a natural way for that to actually flow.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's like forcing water uphill. And it feels like it.
But it's very difficult.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of power. I do have a question though about when talking about like Charlie, when talking about these other characters. It sounded like secondary characters can push little plot points forward, but primary characters need to push the big plot points forward.
Or at least direct it, right?
Sure. Tell me more about what you mean by that.
Because like it's as like a general, whatever, you direct the soldiers in combat, but like it's the people who do combat are the ones who win the victory. Honestly, you know, you can say like a good strategic mind is the difference between winning and losing, but it's the people who on the ground or on that actually do the work, you know? So, but it's mostly the same thing that you're saying.
Well, and it depends on what the main story is. If the main, like in literal terms, if the main story is the fight, that's correct.
Yeah.
If the fight is secondary, then the secondary characters can be those ones affecting the main fight.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I see this with.
Hey, just to warn you, Avatar spoilers ahead.
Like, you know, again with Avatar, because again, I've watched all three of them now in the last 10 days.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Boy, that's a lot of hours.
9 hours.
Yeah, like that's a lot of bathroom visits. And I sort of said after the second one, you know, like personally during the second one, I sort of felt like, like the Jake and Neytiri thing is sort of, it felt sort of played out. They needed a new direction to go with it.
Sure.
And I see this a lot in stories in general, that some of the main characters kind of fulfill their arc.
Yep.
And then you have to sort of let them go, but they need someone to pass the torch to.
Right.
And after the second film, I sort of felt like, you know what, this story cannot progress well if three things don't happen. The scientist, who's a secondary character, needs to make some kind of a change.
Norm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Something needs to be done with Spider.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the Colonel needs to either die or change. That last one is the one thing that did not happen. And I'm sorry, I didn't see a body. Therefore,
yes, that's why I said, like, people were asking, like, oh, is he dead? I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure that you're going to be spending 3 hours watching a film that rehashes the ending of the first film.
Right.
Yeah.
But I felt like
beautiful though.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. It's go watch it in 3D. It's good.
Yeah.
But I sort of felt like all of those things, it depends. Like you can consider the Colonel a secondary character, but it's more likely he fits the villain role.
Sure.
But I think he doesn't work
been
in the villain role anymore after 2 movies of being in the villain role.
Because he had a chance, especially at the end of the second movie, a chance to make that switch.
Yeah.
And it would have been a good, I believe, a good subversion of like what he could have been. And then he could have helped fight. But then again, he was just too much the soldier and he wasn't ever going to change.
It needed, so was Jake, it needed to happen.
Jake changed though.
Right. That's my point is they both soldiers, both could change.
Yeah.
The Colonel needed to change somewhere in the second half of the third movie.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the stakes needed to be raised because he's still just taking orders.
Yeah.
There are people above him. They can then become the villains, etc.
I mean, the general almost did. Like
right,
she was almost comical.
Really ineffective.
Yeah.
Very,
I know.
a shame.
And it's funny, we have not talked about this last movie since we saw it. So now we're all learning stuff. But I felt like the scientist, it wasn't believable for him to continue being okay with things.
Sure.
Glad that happened because they set that up in the second movie that he was like, yeah, this is why I drink. And then suddenly they're going to kill a whole bunch of these things.
Yeah.
And he was like,
not Norm.
Oh, I don't remember names.
The whale one. Not okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I forgot.
There are other scientists.
Because as you were talking, I was like,
I forget.
I disagree.
No, I forget what the
marine
whale
biologist.
I forget what the whale guys were called.
Yeah.
The big whale things.
I forget what
Turuks.
Sure.
Turuks,
something like that.
Or Turuk was maybe the name of one. I don't know.
Turuk Mukto is the big bird.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, no, the scientist who was studying them.
Yes.
Yeah.
That needed to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very happy with how they did that. Although I wanted they didn't check back in with him. Like,
Right.
Yeah, get out of here. Like
He's dead too
where
because
is
he.
Yeah, like I have no
I don't
idea.
know that. Possible.
Less time fighting, more follow up. And so that needed to happen, but also Spider is just like he fills a really uncomfortable role, and I mean the actor too, because you're in this movie with all these blue CG, motion capture people, and you're trying to act like they are because you're in the same culture, kind of,
or grew up
while
in it,
being human, wearing a mask, and like the demand on the actor to not have it come across as silly.
right.
Can't be understated, and he did fine with it. The best he could hope to do was fine, and he did that.
Sure. I think there was some like dialogue changes they should have had with them. They made them. It became an 80s flick.
I agree, but that's not up to the actor.
That's fair.
Correct.
That's script. I mean, they can argue the point and be like, all right, well, I got to go with what I'm.
Yeah. They're paying me to do this. So.
Got to eat what soup I'm given.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
More
But
goulash.
I do like that we're using this fresh film as, a good example, because it seems like similar to primary characters, we want to see a whole arc with them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We also want to see that with secondary characters as well.
Right.
Like if they don't have some kind of beginning, middle, and end themselves, they also feel unfulfilled in a way, or not used well, or doesn't actually contribute to the plot, or is a, I hate saying in the case of Willie and Temple of Doom, like adds nothing, to the plot.
And I got to say, like a bold move for this franchise in the third movie would have been to kill either Jake or Neytiri,
Right.
or
We were
both.
waiting for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you sense that they haven't changed. They're not carrying the story forward. They're not really being interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But
to kill Spider too, by the way. I thought I wanted him to do it.
I didn't think that. I never thought that he would.
I know.
Because the character would have had to have changed completely for him to do it.
Well,
I will.
And
he might have regretted it though. If like,
yes. I think it would have been a major regret.
Yeah. I just didn't buy that. They did not set up the capability for him to change in that way very well.
Yeah.
Because he was so unchanging for second and third movies.
Like stuck with her original want and desire. I feel like I'm giving a lot of spoilers to do that. Like I thought Neytiri's like arc in this movie was honestly, from her path of grief, was extremely believable.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was just a wonderful addition that he really didn't have to dive that deeply into it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the choices that do seem a little odd around Neytiri, I think added to her arc. Now, I don't think that this is necessarily her movie. It's not what I'm trying to say,
Right.
but I do think that it might be. It could arguably be.
Could be.
But if they really wanted to hand over to the kids to be the main characters, they should have killed off the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely planned. Like, because I can't imagine that they're going to get through this entire series without doing that.
Although I do feel like there are certain things I consider obvious that they need to do, that they needed to do in past tense and did not do.
And
so they might. I don't know.
I really think they will. At least, I'm not saying I hope they will, because I just think from a statistical, thing, it's a little bit more realistic to do that, but it is also fantasy.
I also wonder how many fingers are in the pot with that one. Like maybe James Cameron wanted to kill him and be like, no. We got too many toys of this guy. Like,
too many kids are watching this.
Yeah.
But no. Like there's
right. There was a lot of swearing in that movie.
I mean, the swearing isn't the worst thing, but I'm a Gen Xer. We got to see everything. We saw Airplane as a PG film. But not to linger too long on this example, but my point with it was, I know I'm not co-opting your point, but like that I felt like the only way for this franchise to move forward was through the secondary characters, the way they set it up. And that just goes to the notion that sometimes there are aspects of the plot that you just like handing over a musical piece to the second fiddle for a bit. You need to hand over a story to a secondary character. They move it, like maybe the main characters move it here and the secondary character nudges it forward to the next little room. And then the main characters pick it up again or something. Or secondary characters get promoted to primary characters.
Right.
Sure.
You know what some of it was, though, I think, is that when you watch the first Avatar, it's such a heroic and big like movie. And they try to make all these films like these big, grandiose, storylines. But the kids never really went through that. It was like a Goonies kind of like story where they were just trying to survive and get away from the bad guys. They needed to have their heroic moment. Even in this last film, I don't feel like they did kind of with Lowak and his whole thing. But it's just like there's no passing because they're not taking over the responsibility for this war or anything like that, you know. And they're still young, and I get that too. I mean, Kitty kind of did it with Sigourney Weaver's character, where she called AWA to help, whatever. Spoilers. But
well, she kind of does in the first one.
She
but
does,
you
but
see it in a different way here.
And it's very much again just like we saw that, and then now it's just someone who did it. Because if they would have saved that moment for the end of this film, and if in the first film they just had to fight and they just won because they were creative or they had the will to fight better, whatever, that would have been cool. And then they got AWA to help in this next one because when it all like everything is lost, then they could have brought that in. Right. But that's foresight, right?
Everything is lost.
You know what's really funny about this conversation though is for a long time I was having a hard time just sitting and like absorbing a movie without analyzing it while I was watching it. And this time I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just enjoy the freaking thing. And here I am, not even like a fan of the franchise as much as, you know, it's one of Rio's favorite franchises.
I
here you guys are like, you know, analyzing it to its core, which is not a bad thing. You know, I love these kinds of discussions because I think even for our topic today, I just find it really funny that I actually kind of enjoyed it. Like and this never happened.
I liked it better than the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I felt like there was more nuance. There was the fighting was more broken up by story. But again, I'm not trying to make this a review of Avatar.
Honestly,
It just again, it's fresh in
so
our minds.
Fresh.
Right.
And a lot of characters and a lot of potentially poorly used characters, poorly used secondary characters is what I should say.
And I feel like a lot of the plot divergences are partially due to the creators of the franchise not really keeping a clear notion of A, who's a primary versus who's a secondary character, and B, not knowing what the end goal is for a lot of the characters or even the motivating factors other than just family,
or not making it clear to us too, because they might have an idea, but
if they do, they're not communicating it well through their art. I'm sort of curious, you know, like what other examples you've seen. Like we're talking a little bit about how certain aspects of that are not done well, and I'm curious, like which parts of that with the secondary characters do you feel like were like not done well, and like moving that on maybe to other examples, like wrapping that one up, because like we're going to spend forever on this example.
We really could.
The one example that I have is from Star Wars because, you know, why not talk about all the main franchises?
Which trilogy?
Which the sequel trilogy, the 7, 8, and 9. So
I can't talk to that one.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's just that they had like 3 core characters as they were passing the torch, and it was Rey, Poe, and Finn. Those were just the major 3.
Okay.
And they were a good trio. And I mean, there's a good connection between Rey and Finn and Poe, and then later Poe and Rey. You know, they just had a good like triangle going. It wasn't even a love triangle or anything like that. It was just a good like solid team. Like that was your team. You know,
chemistry
Leia
too.
Yeah, Leia. So the 2.
Who was Poe again? Was he the?
He was a pilot. Yeah,
Pilot.
It was Oscar Isaacs, who we love.
Got it.
But like you had that, and it was fine because that's kind of like the whole Star Wars thing. You got that they kind of triumvirate. But when the second movie came along, it's like they threw away his character, and I don't know what the decision was for that. I don't know how, but it's like they should have stuck together, and then they separated them. You know, they were a team. You know, like that's the Firefly family. You know, it's the Enterprise. You know, crew. It's like you can kind of like get them into different positions, but like they work together and they would always like stick together. They wouldn't just leave. Like Finn spent all this time trying to find Rey. He finds it and then he skips out, you know, and to do something else. Like, you know, and it was like, no, stick with Rey. Cause that's the only thing that mattered to him, you know? So it's like when you have these good characters and he was great, I just feel like they did him dirty because it's like he was a good character that they never brought to fruition. And then I feel like they tried to like fix it in the third one. And it was just like, I don't know. They just threw him in there. Like,
I have a theory.
Yes, please.
Because you kind of said it a little bit, but I want to enhance it. Because like at the start of the second film, or sorry,
8.
8. Yeah. Episode 8. We knew that Finn had a sort of clear directive, a clear, you know, goal for himself. I think maybe
Yeah.
at the end of,
At the end of 7.
Mhm.
Yeah, which that's as far as I saw.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so he seemed like, main character. He's in the thick of it,
Yeah.
Right. But because we had that clear initiative, that clear goal for him, and then that goal was just not clearly communicated to us as to why it was thrown to the wayside and why this character just kept doing things that were out of character for what we understood as his motivations,
Right.
and what we understood as his goals. And from a viewer, from a reader, from whatever, like that just feels, again, very unfulfilling, very flat, very,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't add to the main conflict. I feel like it doesn't add to the main story. It does nothing for the plot.
Did it feel like that they tried to get him to do something important and they failed, or that they just didn't know what to do with him, and so they let go of the reins, or some other third option?
I feel like it's what they then tried to tangent him to do was just not a very fulfilling goal.
Yeah.
Like
Especially because he fails. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like in a dumb way too. I'm sorry. Like, it just, they sent him off on a mission to find these codes for, I don't even
Oh, I
remember now.
forgot about. I honestly
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah. Right. Because it was just so like
and
silly.
Benicio del Toro.
I know. Benicio del Toro's in it, and he does a great job, and he's a great actor. And like all these wonderful people that just, again, it's like Spider. They just made him say all these silly things just for the fact of
They made
like,
him into the court jester,
yeah, yeah.
which is a shame. He is funny.
He should have been a Jedi with Rey.
Mhm.
Just that's what I'm saying.
But the fact that he does fail in a way, I also think would have been okay if, like you said, the trio was together.
Yes.
Failing sort of together.
Yes.
'Cause, I mean, that's what Empire Strikes Back was. Honestly, it was a not a tragedy in a way. It was the way that they thought they were going to solve the issue
Yeah.
didn't end up being the way that they thought they were going to solve it. And it was still like 2 steps back in a way, which I think could have looked a little stronger if Finn's goal hadn't been deviated from
But
the
they, like you
original
said,
intent.
they suffered together.
Yeah.
They went through it together, and they had each other, and that's what I wanted. I wanted that pack, that like family, and then it just seems like they're all off doing their own thing. Like it just didn't matter.
Yeah, like a bad D&D party. It's like,
Sure.
we're all
The one
pursue
murder
our
hobo is going
individual, objectives.
But I think that's an example of when you're expecting a primary character to be a primary character and they're written into a secondary character.
Yeah.
It's blurring that line again and doesn't help the plot. It doesn't help the character that has already been established. And I don't know what impacts it has on world building, but I don't think it's good.
That can happen when, as a writer, if you're juggling too many main characters, like more than you can.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, how do I make all of them have something important to do? And if you just can't manage it, I know it's something I struggle with because I've got 5 main characters by now.
Sure.
And if people are like, well, I have a favorite and I want them to have more screen time, for example,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, but then I have to think, okay, do I just do that just to do it? Or does it benefit the story? If it doesn't benefit the story, how do I maybe not let go of them as a main character, but like let go of them as being as prominent without doing it gracelessly?
Sure.
Ooh.
So that, they're not just, like you said, like shunted off to some pointless task.
Right. Just to get rid of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they just don't have any. Sometimes they're a main character in novels and such because you kind of see their inner world more.
Mhm.
And if their inner world, if there's nothing for them to really deal with and they're just a spectator, then they're not really a main character anymore.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I know that like I can struggle with that sometimes while working on my 3rd book here. And I think I'm doing fine with it. But do you guys encounter that in stories you see or stories you write at all? Where it seems like it's too hard to keep main characters in main roles or secondary characters in secondary roles?
Yes. Because I have a couple secondary characters. I feel like that I would love for them to be primary characters, but in a way, I know that I have not too many. I think I have just the right amount of, primary characters.
Goldilocks characters.
Goldilocks,
Yeah.
yes.
Only 14.
Just it's pretty numbers. But acknowledging that, like you said, at this point, I feel like being able to handle like multiple primary characters, it is a skill, and it is an art in a way, not so much talent. Like I really feel like you're not just naturally good at it. Like you have to work at it, and you have to know when to let them shine, when to let them, actually be off stage for a little bit. But it's definitely easy to want all the characters to be main characters.
That's when you become the crafter of this story. That's when you choose what the important parts are, like what we need to tell, because everyone's got like this backstory. Everybody's got these things, but what makes a good story is how you put it together. And, I know at least with mine a little bit, I actually have another author writing a part where my story diverges, and there's all a section of stuff that happens. Now, if I didn't use that section, the story would been fine if I would just follow the one section. But I think we can add to it, and everybody's got that kind of own section of it, of their stories that will later come together to add to the richness. But again, how you tell and like what pieces you choose, I think is more important. I mean, it's almost like, bring it back to music a little bit. It's almost like the band aspect, because like when we think of bands, we think of like Journey or whatever. And like, who is Journey? Like, what's the most important part of Journey?
The singer. I'm just kidding.
See, like, but you're joking. But what do you remember most about is like the angelic voice of, Steve Perry.
Steve Perry.
Yes. People usually remember the front man, whoever that is. Yeah.
But without the good songs, would it be the same? Like, it's almost like that karaoke. You'll hear people who do a great rendition of it, maybe even better than the original person, but they would never have that song to sing if they didn't have the songwriters.
Right. Well, I know Chris Rock said something about like, about Hall & Oates. Like, no one even knows what Oates does. But Hall's never written a successful song without him.
I won't lie. As you were talking, and like, who do people actually remember? The viola player in me, like I could feel like my heart increasing, like my blood pumping. Because it is, I don't know, like everybody wants to be like the main character of the thing. And it is it's sort of like humbling thing as a writer or whatever to acknowledge that there are characters that need to be secondary.
I learned this too doing the young writers conferences. I had to specify you're creating secondary characters. So I'd say that and people are like, oh, my character is Captain whatever. And I had to say, you can't be the cat. I put my main characters up there. I put, Roy, Ajuban, and Koya wrote what their roles were. Okay, so you're all creating the rest of the crew.
Oh, that's cool.
And so like Koya's, the lookout, I created these sheets that show all the different roles. It's like 15 different roles. Okay. And so you've got a captain, a first mate, and you've got all these other roles. And I had, there's 2 lookouts, you can have like this gun captain and surgeon and fighting men and whatever. As master of sail, all that stuff. And so I had like lookouts too, and Koya's a lookout. Okay. So you can be anything but the captain or the first mate. You can be a lookout. There's 2, it can be, it doesn't have to be that, sorry that this kid already made that, so you can't. You're just creating what you think your character would be. But there are so many kids who want to I want Captain, and it's always Captain Jack or something like that.
Captain Fancy Pants.
Captain Perfect Hair.
And you could see that some kids would get a little disappointed when they couldn't be the captain, but then they'd redirect that energy into trying to create an interesting character anyway. Sure. And that's all it really takes. And I think, what you're talking about is like that tension between being faithful to the plot and faithful to the character. Like when you want all your secondary characters to become main characters, it's because you value all your characters and you see them all as real people, that they all have the potential to be main characters. But if you let them all be, you have no plot.
Right. Because when everyone's special, no one's special.
No one's special. Yeah. Yes. And believe it or not, Incredibles.
Incredibles,
and believe it or not, the world is filled with normal ass people.
Yes. Magic in the mundane, right?
Yes. Yes. And so I like what you said a lot, like it without actually writing just interesting characters, like there's not a lot that the reader can sort of latch onto.
And it's sort of like if you're looking through a microscope and you're like, I have to look at this thing, these 3 things. Yeah. And you see something interesting on the edge of the slide. You're not supposed to refocus and look at that. You can note it, but you keep focused on
Right.
what you're looking at.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I think that the impulse is there. If you're making a character that you are then finding to be much more interesting in some ways, to sort of shift focus onto them. And at that point, you've literally lost the plot.
Yes. Yes. And I hate saying it, lost control of your cast
Right.
in a way, which is
They're all
fun.
running amok.
It's fun before it's published.
Yeah.
How's
Right.
that?
It's a fun exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sort of feel like it's both easier and harder to do this if you're doing a lot of role playing, because, or at least if you're running the game, which is usually my role. I'm trying to keep things on plot, but also I try to flesh out all these characters. And I try to let people completely have the reins with their own character. But I feel like, I haven't done much role playing in the last, 10 or so years. And I'm sort of like, now I want to focus a lot on these characters because,
Right.
I'm doing so much plot stuff and not as much character stuff, and I mean, I do a lot of character stuff in my writing, but like, I'm not getting to like fully explore a character, like when I'm role playing, I'm running the game. I'm in charge of the plot. When I'm
Sure.
writing, I'm in charge of the plot.
But
And
then
sometimes you just get worn out being in charge of the plot. You're
Yeah.
like, I want to explore this character.
Yeah.
But then
That's
you'll make
true.
a character who's got like 15 pages of like a backstory, and then some murder hobo will kill them in the first like round or whatever. And it's like, no, you're not supposed to kill him. He's like very important to my plot. You know?
Right.
This is why I play with fate points when I play Shadow World. You
I
get a
also-
reroll.
I also think that, not to tangent too much, sorry, but as you were talking about not everybody can be a main character type thing, that Salil, I think, learns that in the second book as she's going through the trials with all the other girls, that, she does find that there are some people that are better at certain things that she might be. And even though she has her own wily way of, getting through things,
Sure.
that balance is something that she does learn, that she does need to lean on
Right.
people. And so
Through
as
her
the,
family. Through
yeah,
her. Appreciate you bringing that up.
yeah. Cause I mean, there are a lot of secondary characters, I think, secondary, tertiary.
Right. But they
Almost
can't,
after
they
that.
become the family.
Yeah.
Like eventually. And it's kind of interesting as I'm doing the audio book and actually cutting the layers up and everything. And I'm actually splitting up like the lines for Salil there's narration, Salil, and I have like some of the other major characters or secondary characters, and I have the additional and I have extra. And you kind of see in almost like this grid-like thing, like who's speaking and how much everyone is speaking. So you kind of figure out like, well, if they got more reading lines, I guess they're the more important people, Yeah.
Yeah, I had to actually change. I started doing this editing outline, and I realized I don't have enough scenes from Ajuban in book 2.
Oh.
And then so I changed it to where 2 scenes that were written from other characters, secondary characters' perspectives, were written from his perspective, added more character growth in there for him that made sense in those scenes. And it sort of like kept him in that role.
Sure.
But there were just sections where I was like, well, I want to give more of a flavor to this character, that character. I thought, I don't need to. I
Sure.
want to keep the spotlight on Ajuban. And I don't want to force it, but there's a difference between forcing him into the spotlight,
Right.
and just being distracted away from him being in the spotlight by these
Yeah,
other
sure.
characters.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
And so you've got to look at which thing you're trying to do.
Right.
Um,
What's the purpose, right?
It's a
right.
delicate dance.
Yeah.
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 So if you distill all this down to like the essence of what makes a secondary character build a story, like what are those qualities, do you think, that are different from like primary characters, or are they different? Are they the same things, but just like in, more marginalized nuances like embroidery?
You see like embroidery?
Like are they just embroidering the main thing?
I was just like,
Yeah, it's like
people actually embroidering? Is this like, is the sewing machine the secondary character? Like,
no, just are they like creating nuance around the edge, or like,
No,
I
I
feel like
gotcha.
there's actual structural points in there
Yeah.
that they're vital for.
I
But
do. And there are people that have like, creative writing degrees that might have a technical, definition of it. But I just feel like, opinion wise, at least, and from this discussion, I do feel like secondary characters have to, they must add to the plot to a degree, not as much as a primary, but they can't take away from it.
Sure.
Like they do still have to have their eyes on a target that's at least in a similar range of the primary characters.
Yeah.
It's just
And
one thing that
it's possible that if you're more of a character person, it can be really hard to privilege your plot over the secondary characters.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's just like, if I can bring like Macross Plus in just real quick, Isamu is just Isamu, but with gold, he is more. Like, it's when they build each other, like even more than Mune is. Like gold is what is the cat. You could totally take Mune out of the story, and
Gold is the sole source of conflict.
Yeah,
within the social dynamic, not counting the AI stuff.
Mhm.
sure, but that's secondary.
I mean, that's still related.
Yeah,
It's still tied to that group.
Yeah. But not directly, like only as again conflict, because gold is a primary character, but secondary to Samu. Like there's levels and like directions. There's like a whole red line thing.
I don't even know that I'd say he's secondary to Isamu as a character. He might be secondary in Myung's prioritization. So I don't know who I'd say is a more vital character for the story.
Because you could have the entire story without gold, and it would be Samu against the AI, and then his struggle with Mune and his feelings and everything.
That story would still be there, but the human story, the human conflict wouldn't be there.
But he's Centrati.
Shut up. Centrati, you're humans.
I think this is an episode all on its own, guys.
Yeah.
Macross
Dude.
plus plus.
episode.
Mostly because they're the trio, whatever.
Love
You need them all.
triangle.
Well, here's
I
a
actually hate love
question
triangles.
for you guys. So out of you two, who is the better secondary character of this podcast?
Sibby.
You. Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree.
I love you guys. That's what I wanted, honestly.
Oh God.
Everyone, a place for everyone and everyone in their place.
That's
Mario.
right. Hell yeah.
Oh, boy.
So, but yeah, it's a good topic. Again, let's revisit this again sometime and talk about it more. And but for now, we're just gonna kind of go away and drift on to the sunset.
I am maybe for food for thought for later is we've done a lot of talking about secondary characters with plot and character specifically, but any impacts to world building? I am curious to.
I think
Can we not build up on this? I think we should cut this. Sorry.
No, I'm not adding more. I'm saying like for just
For
like
another time.
Another time.
Yeah.
I thought you were asking.
No,
I'll
no.
write that down.
Yeah.
Second. Okay.
No, he tried ending this like 10 minutes ago.
I know.
And you're like, let me talk about Macross.
I was a very short part. Sorry, I thought you were going on more. It's like no,
I did
I
not
got
want to.
I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I thought you were going for like now too. So yeah, I'm glad I clarified that.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, no, like, because, we've got tons of examples, and I think even further refinement on a lot of these topics is going to create, I'd love to have 5 episodes on each of these topics.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe we'll zero down on one specific thing and cut it all to pieces and figure that out.
For sure.
Yeah.
But for now, I think that about does it. This has been Bards and Balladeers podcast. Join us on the Discord. Talk to us about secondary characters. We all love secondary characters. We can't get enough of them. So
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
and I'm,
story.
you guys are both character people, and I'm just secondary. So I love secondary things.
So
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I'm Kate.
I'm Usger.
I'm Rio. Catch you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye.